live, which now should have us live. So let me pull up all of the right windows here, including fucking RuneScape, because of course, oh, we're really close to leveling up. Hold on. It's about 10k experience to go. So we're back here on the whole Retopologizing tour, and we're going to hopefully finish at least the cloak today, and then we'll worry about the rest. I'll probably also do the skull manually. I think I have decided by now, but we'll see. Depends on how much of a pain the cloak ends up being. I really don't want to do much Retopologizing beyond today. So if we don't get the cloak and the skull finished today, I'll probably just like auto do the skull with like instant meshes or something, or just with the decimate modifier. We'll see how that ends up going. But first I realized that I'm actually like missing a little like droopy bit here that I didn't do last time. So let's get started with doing that first. It's really difficult to see because you only see it from like certain angles, and I don't even know like what geometry I'm actually going to be using to take care of that. So honestly, at this point, I'm kind of inclined to say we're going to just get rid of this, and the way we'll do that will just be by going into sculpting mode. And we don't have symmetry turned on. That's very, very good. And in theory, if we just smooth the ever-living hell out of this, that should start getting rid of it at some point, right? Maybe we want to like deflate it a little. I don't want it to impact anything that is not this. This should allow us to kind of like get rid of it slowly. And with dynamic topology turned on, if I now use the clay brush, there we go. That's one way of getting rid of it. It wasn't really a bit that I was all too attached to be honest with you. Let's add back some detail here, because I did smooth away a lot of detail there. And that's why we work from rough detail to fine detail, because if you then go back to rough detail, you remove most of the fine detail, which is not great, but this will do. So that's that. Again, I need to figure out my whole dinner situation, because having dinner and then immediately jumping into a live stream is not very good for your vocal cords. Turns out. Let's store some things in our rune box. And that's what I mean. So we can now keep going with this, and what I'm thinking here is we probably want to just make a couple of surfaces here first and foremost, right? So if we just like make a surface here like this, that, what the fuck, even how did that happen? I said make a surface here like this, and then we add that as a surface. Why? Does it automatically connect to the last thing we... that we made? It might, I don't know. Oh, we might still have like an annotation thing there. Is there a way to remove all annotations? I suppose what we can do is just like a lot of that. Oh, hold on. No, the issue is that we have a vertice selected there. Okay. That actually is very helpful. So now, if we add a surface here, it should be all good, right? Okay, so that's a good starting point for that. And then this, I think we can make a very, very long bit of surface that we can add. And how we connect these things up we'll worry about a little bit later. For now I just want to like get started on adding them. So that we have something to work with. That's the downside of the annotation thing, is you need to actually run these lines in the same direction. Otherwise they get messed up. So add surface. And that's a pretty good start, I would say. So there's going to be some triangle stuff here probably. And we're just kind of going to have to deal with that. Is what I think is going to happen here. Let's turn off the ribs and the skull and the spine, because we're not worrying about any of those. We're just working with the cloak itself right now. Now, I think the way we do this is... okay, so we have to decide, are we going to start going down, or are we going to start like going left and right and making the loops that way? I think first making these things into like full loops makes the most sense, because that way we can just do things like this, right? And we can then... that's not what I wanted to do, but the ref ID is correct. I still haven't bought a new mouse. I have, however, like I was complaining about, I think in the last stream, maybe the stream before, I have gotten myself a USB hub. I'm not using my tablet at the moment, so it doesn't actually matter that much. But whenever we get back to using the tablet, I'll be able to actually hook them up together with my like Stream Deck and stuff. Or I don't have a Stream Deck. That's the whole point, is that I have a... I'm using an app for that instead. But I was running out of USB slots to use it with, which is not great. Maybe we can just connect these up now. I think that works well enough. There's definitely a lot more resolution here than there is up there. Again, we'll worry about that when the time comes. For now, I think this first loop actually ended up working out quite well. So, will it be easier? I always like think, will it be easier to like extrude out these vertices first? Like do it on a vertex basis like this? And then maybe we can do... yeah, no, that doesn't really work that way, does it? But maybe it's still a technique worth exploring. Because we can do these. And then this should just fill up, right? I think that still is a better technique to work with. And now these will be able to use this way. Yeah, I think... oh, what the fuck, actually? Oh, no, never mind. That is exactly as that should work. Yeah, I do think that this might be the way to go. Makes this part a lot easier. Like, even though these are still like the, as I've been calling them, the droopy bits, right? Compared to the ones on the arm, these ones are going to be so much easier. Specifically because I don't plan on like doing much animation on these. These just need to have geometry to simulate, and that's really all there is to it. These also need to have somewhat decent geometry to animate, and I think we've done a decent job about that. I'm not going to redo them, so it's gotta have to be good enough. Now we can just pull out extra faces like this, and the only thing that slightly worries me is what this is going to look like at the very bottom here, because that's gonna be a fucking mess. But maybe they can also come together in like a handful of faces. Maybe they can actually, because if I connect this up to that, that is a triangle. But now that is a quad, which has one more. Maybe that needs to have a little bit more resolution. We'll worry about that in a moment. Yeah, so now this flow of faces is going to close that out, which is fantastic. Is it though? Actually, it might not be. Maybe it is. We'll run into any issues in a moment if it is not fantastic, so it won't be a long wait to see how badly we fucked up. Because this now should be able to, like... we might be able to make that work. Hold on. Because this can go over there. And I think this kind of gives us the exact geometry that I was hoping for. Maybe. Potentially. Possibly. We'll have to think about how we're going to connect things up in a moment. Never mind. This is not as ideal as I was hoping. There's also more geometry on this side than there is on that side, so that's not ideal. Let me think. So... let's add some knife cuts up to that vertice, because that will allow us to bridge these, and this is now a n-gon. I think that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if we... do we have auto merge on actually? I never remember where auto merge is. Is it in here? Doesn't make a lot of sense to be in there. Options, probably, actually. Auto merge, yeah. Auto merge is on. Blender just is. I understand Blender giving you nightmares. Okay, so now these should be auto merge, right? Yeah, and this... my inventory is full. I'd actually prefer Maya, ZBrush, Substance Paint, and Workflow. I don't... it's been a while since I've used Maya, so maybe I'll change my mind about it. I've worked with Maya in the past, and I didn't particularly love it. Is there any reason for this strip to, like... But seeing footage of Maya, I also don't think it's that different from Blender. So, maybe... but I don't know, like, Blender is free, right? And it's pretty good at what it does, which is pretty much everything in one software. I don't like it for texturing. It actually sucks for material related purposes. And I also like ZBrush more for sculpting. But like, the thing is, once I've made a like rough outline for a model in Blender, then actually sculpting it, like going back and forth between programs is just a hassle. So unless it really is giving me trouble, I also stay in Blender for sculpting a lot of the times. It's also because I'm just not too used to ZBrush yet. I'm still getting used to it. How the fuck does the edge flow on this work? Okay, so if I just pull this down a little bit, so that all of these vertices line up a little bit better. The thing about ZBrush though is that I like actually really hate the poly modeling tools in there. Like I forgot what they call it, but yeah, let's just make that a triangle. Who fucking cares? No, I don't think that we want to connect things up quite that way. Maybe we do actually. Hold on, if we add a loop cut here and we slide that down a little bit. But yeah, the poly tools in ZBrush actually make me very, very sad. Okay, so then from there, we connect that up. I really don't want to have to make a triangle here, but it seems like I might have to. If I connect these two up, that makes a triangle, I know, but that also, I think, closes up this little bit, so it's probably fine. Good day to you too, even Stephen. I didn't notice your name last time, but it's actually a really good name. So yeah, back to Blender and all the other things. I've never gotten used to Maya too much. I think the reason why is just mostly because let's maybe like add in one more loop here. I think a good part of the reason why is probably oh, that's not great, is it? I will finish that thought in a moment. Hold on. Let's add in a loop here. Pull that vertex down. Vertex, technically. Vertex is plural. We can move a couple of things around and make this work. Let's not display in front. I think that's pretty good. Well, let's just see what this looks like when we shade smooth. Does there seem to be any like pinching going on? I don't think there is, so we're probably good to go. Still don't like the way this looks, don't get me wrong. Okay, back to that thought I was trying to get out. I think the main reason that I've never really re-explored Maya is mostly to do with, oh, this is going to be fun, is mostly to do with the fact that, like, unlike ZBrush, which is significantly better for sculpting, and even to, like, the same extent, maybe even more, I would argue, for, like, substance, being, like, actually just straight up so much better when you're trying to do material related stuff. I think for like just normal modeling, where you're actually like influencing polygons and stuff like that, from what I can tell, Maya and Blender are pretty on par. But that's also coming from somebody who like doesn't know all that much about Maya, so don't take that as like meaning all too much. Oh, my inventory is full again. Don't waste your potion. Gonna have to make a bank trip in a moment here. I barely have the focus to finish a thought in my head. while doing all this, and I'm also like playing RuneScape at the same time. This is like a recipe for disaster, which is a quest that I have not yet done. That's a funny joke if you played RuneScape like ever. I think I've actually started the quest on this account, so that's not even entirely true. I've never really done too much animation and rigging. I can't say that I've really experienced a lot of like problems with Blender's rigging tools. Personally, I do my rigging and animation in Unreal now, just because like I'm using everything in Unreal, and there was a little bit of a issue at one point with animations either not exporting as I'm seeing them in Blender or not importing as I'm seeing them in Blender. Like that workflow, like Unreal to Blender, at one point in like that pipeline, there was an issue where some animations ended up being slightly different. There's like very minute differences, but minute differences that would occasionally result in characters clipping through themselves, which is like quite a big deal. So I just opted to like, you know, I'm going to need control rigs for a few of these characters anyway, for like cutscene related stuff, and I'm not going to animate cutscenes in Blender and then import those into Unreal. That seems insane. So I might as well just animate everything in Unreal going forward, and that's what I do now. So it's been a while since I've like actually rigged up, like actually made a control rig. Of course, I still do like the armature and such in Blender, but the actual rigging stuff, it's been a while since I've done any of that in Blender. But I can't say that I ever really ran into any issues with that. That said, maybe it's just that Maya is that much better at it. That's entirely possible, and like maybe even likely. I'll tell you one thing though, if Maya supports doing... how am I going to do this actually? Probably like this? If Maya supports like VR workflows, like actually modeling while in VR so that you are in like the same 3D space as... I talked about this last time. In the same 3D space as the models that you're working on, that would be a fucking huge upside to it, because that's the one thing that I'm like, I really would like that out of like any 3D modeling tool, is being able to model in VR. That would be actually just fantastic. How does that actually... Okay. That actually loops around pretty well. Cool. On the other hand though, Maya being industry standard, I understand the point. But it's also a little bit of like a chicken or the egg kind of situation, right? It's a lot of people use it because it's the industry standard, which means that it's the industry standard, which means that a lot of people learn it, and that maintains like its position for a while. But not forever. And I'm not entirely sure if Blender is going to like overtake that in any way, shape, or form. But speaking as somebody who like works with Adobe software as well, Adobe is kind of an interesting, like in like the media industry, it's kind of interesting, right? Because it used to be definitely not an industry standard for a long time. You had like Avid and Final Cut, and Adobe was kind of there. Then at some point, Adobe, let's do a quick bank run. Then Adobe became industry standard for like about a decade. Like everybody and their mom was using it because it was pretty low barriers to entry as soon as they moved into like the Creative Cloud. subscription model, even though a lot of professionals didn't like that. Where the other living hell is the bank. Hold on, I think it's in that direction. Yeah, there we go. And in a very similar way to it becoming industry standard due to it having a low barrier of entry, and as such a lot of like new users learn how to work with it instead of the competition. Now DaVinci Resolve is starting to take that same spot, and more people are starting to use it, and it's actually like really good software as well. So like industry standards shift based on what new generations learn, partly at least. They also stay the same based on all the like extensions that like studios make in-house. That's a huge part, of course, of where the fuck is the entrance to this little bit. There we go. Like if a studio makes in-house plugins for their 3D modeling tool, for like their specific workflow and their specific needs, they're going to be harder to convince to... I leveled up at some point, apparently. They're going to be harder to convince to switch for good reason, I would say. So that is the counter argument to that, is that, yeah, new people might be learning certain software, but there's also like pressure from within companies to not change too drastically. So it's a little of column A, a little of column B, but like industry standard can shift. I won't say that they will shift, but they can. We're going to have to change up some of the geometry of how that works here probably, but we'll worry about that in a moment. I think this at this point can just... You can just fill this in with a triangle, and this can fill in with a quad, right? Yes, it can. And then actually, I have an idea. If we take all of this and we bevel this, that becomes a quad. And what happens up here is we create a triangle, which creates a few n-gons. That's maybe not ideal. Let's see how we're going to fix that. I suppose... that fixes that, right? I mean, it's still a triangle, don't get me wrong, but it's kind of fixed. You multitask well. My brain is firing on like 200% right now. Talking, modeling, playing the most addicting game to ever have existed. Well, that's probably Farmville, but you get my point. Hold on, how are these are not connected for some reason, but we can probably just like merge at center for these, right? So if we just take these, and we merge them, that might fix that issue. And then again, we'll just make a triangle here. This will make a quad. And that's then also in a pretty good position to... let's see, that's in a pretty good position to do this with, I think. I keep using the wrong keys. What is it with ambulances driving by when I'm trying to stream? Like, actually though. It's not like ambulances just drive by here all day, every day. It's just this week, so far, twice while I'm streaming, somebody feels the need to fucking die, apparently. It's really weird. Yeah, again, that's gonna be a triangle, but these kind of shapes really annoy me. As someone who isn't that well versed in retopologizing manually, this also is just like a shitty shape to do it with, I think. So that makes things worse. And I really just need to get Retopoflow at some point. I've seen it and it seems so much fucking nicer to work with than what I'm doing right now. But that's a maybe in the future thing, and not a right now thing. So just kind of deal with it. And yet another triangle. But I think once we close off this triangle, and we've got triangles on way too many places now. But once we close this off, we just need to extend this thing down, and then we've covered this bit. Like, that's actually gone fairly well. All that said, though, I think we could do a little bit better with the positioning on some of these vertices. Russell Weed, I just dropped by to say thank you for the channel and your videos. You're very welcome. Thank you for watching them. Moving over from Unity is something that I've heard a lot in the, in the last little while. You're definitely not the only one. So I hope that my stuff can help there. I worked with Unity a little bit for a couple of months just to check it out. And then I went back to Unreal. Like 2 months before all that shit went down earlier. That's not even earlier this year. That's last year at this point. Holy shit. I wouldn't even say that it was a waste of time. I learned quite a lot about like working with a different engine and the way that that works and the way to code for it and stuff like that is still very valuable for your overall improvement as a programmer and just a game dev in general. Like the way the Unity engine, it doesn't really do this that badly, but the way it like combines the animation graph to also be usable, maybe not the necessarily the intended way to use it, but be very usable for driving state machines for your like AI. It's actually really interesting because Unreal's animation state machine doesn't really do that in the same way, I feel. Could use with a little bit more resolution here. I'll just do that. Yeah, that's fine. So like stuff like that was very interesting to play around with. That said though, I am starting to dive into, I meant to do it today, but I just started editing a video. I'm going to start diving into how the state tree system works, so do expect tutorials on that at some point in the maybe not near future. I'm still figuring things out. Oh, that's an angle. That's not good. We can make that into maybe a quad and a triangle. We'll see. We can just fill this up, right? That's just F, 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 F all the way down. And then, let's see, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's a bit of a weird quad, but it is a quad technically speaking. Only with Unity to begin with because at the time they had a little better VR support. I do believe that. I was afraid of C++ due to it. Yeah, C++ and Unreal though is actually really nice to work with. That's the exact reason that I at some point moved over, because I was entirely Blueprint based in Unreal when I started. And at some point I was like, I don't really like having to code everything entirely in Blueprint because it's really slow to be dragging around these nodes all the time for simple things. Especially like if you just want to add two numbers together. It's the thing that I come back to every time I talk about this. But it is because it is such a fucking pain in the ass to just add two numbers together in Blueprint compared to how easy it is in traditional code. I was like, I'm going to check out Unity to like work with C# because C++ scared me, and then I figured out, hey, actually like Unity as an engine I am like not a huge fan of. Like I just ran into a little like too many issues, and Unity developers will disagree with me on this, but I really do feel like Unreal Engine actually just straight up has more like pre-built features for you to use. And since I'm like a solo developer, that's really nice. Sometimes you have to make your own implementations for them anyway, but especially for prototyping and stuff, it's really nice that just stuff pre-exists in Unreal Engine. I suppose now we get to this bit, don't we? How long did that take? Yeah, that was about 40 minutes to do this little bit. So we're definitely not doing the entire cloak today. But we can move on to the next bit. So I suppose there's that. So I learned C# with Unity. And that was very good to do still, in my opinion, because it allowed me to like refresh my code. I had a little bit of experience coding from when I was like 14. I did a little bit of Java, but not like anything serious, just like exploration, more or less. Like, how does this like whole coding thing work? That sounds interesting. And then I didn't actually go too deep into it because then I started being more interested in like video production. And that's where most of my high school and then of course my college time was spent in. So I had to like brush up on that stuff and learn C#. But once I was comfortable with that and moving into C++, that made it easier. But I also realized that I severely overestimated how difficult C++ is, specifically within the context of Unreal Engine. I still am very much aware that C++ is a huge pain in the ass due to its lack of garbage collection as just like a language. But that's the thing. Unreal Engine provides your garbage collection for C++, which is the biggest issue with C++ just fixed. It only garbage collects things that inherit from you object, but that's not really an issue for the most part. I'm rambling. Let me read. But learning more about Blueprint, maybe dive in Unreal. Yeah, I really do like Blueprint. Even though I work mostly with C++ now, I still also do a lot of Blueprint stuff. For some things, Blueprint is just nicer. In my opinion, anyway. Let's actually make like this loop first. Maybe that'll... And then we can maybe connect these two up. Is that going to work? I think that might actually be a pretty good idea, to be honest with you. So if I now select this, no, that's going to fuck up. We'll get there. Okay, so yeah, now I remember how I want to do this. Just extrude this out this way, right? Then we bridge these. And then this we can probably just F our way through. And then we can do it like this, yeah. web developer by day. Find Blueprint kind of refreshing because it isn't typing in VS Code. Especially if you're already typing in VS Code all day. I can 100% understand that. Like, they both have their strengths, right? If you're just trying to like linearly script out, like, the way I personally, and this might like not work out entirely in like actual terminology for people sometimes, but the way I like to think about them is that I like to do programming stuff, meaning like stuff that's to do with like systematic things in C++, and I like to do my scripting things, which is just first this happens, then that happens, then that happens, then that happens. I like to do that in Blueprint because Blueprint makes things like timing a lot easier, and it just feels like it makes sense to do like more script type stuff in Blueprint compared to like building entire systems in Blueprint, which is entirely possible still, don't get me wrong. That is a thing very much that you can do. But those are the kind of things where I'm like, okay, if I'm doing like a lot of math and a lot of like communicating between objects and having like some level of like a lot of variables and stuff like that, that's where I'm like, yeah, maybe actually I think for the most part I was afraid of that. For the most part, I think there I prefer going with Blueprint related stuff. Hold on. This vertex needs to then merge into here. Yeah, that's what we want to do, I think. Because now, this should be a quad. That should be a quad. That's... Hold on. It's triangle. Quad. There we go. And a quad, and a quad, and a quad. I mean, I'm doing some rambling of my own as well, so do feel free to ramble. Not having a usable git diff is kind of infuriating. I haven't tested it out yet, but and I don't know how well it works and what functionality it does have, but I switched over on recommendation of a viewer a while ago to Unity source control or version control for Unreal Engine. And might sound, oh wait, Unity version control? No, it works with Unreal Engine. It has a plugin on the Unreal Marketplace. It's just owned by Unity. It's a company that Unity bought up in the first place, and they have at least like merging conflicts for Blueprint, which is great. So I assume that might fix your issue. Again, I have not yet had to test out how well it works though, so it might actually just be garbage. Like, the fact that that feature exists doesn't mean that that feature works very well, right? So there's every chance that that still doesn't fix anything. But it is something worth noting that that exists. Now what do we do? I think from here we can... no. I think from here what we do is we manually make this face. And then... we'll see. How's my mining doing? I quite like it. It also, like, because it has like an engine plugin, I can check out and commit changes in engine without having to open up the source control itself, which is just, it's a tiny change, but it makes sure that I actually do it more often as well, which is to me quite important, because usually I'm like, oh, I haven't actually like made a commit in like a week because I'm the only person working on this project, so it doesn't like matter that much until something goes wrong, in which case it's very important to like make regular checkpoints, right? So that definitely helps me make more regular. Is this gonna do well? I don't know if this is gonna do well. This might actually work out well. Hold on. I think we got something going here. This is like actually a horrendous way to do things. I also don't know what the fuck is going on with... Oh, that's... Wait, what? Okay, so definitely I want to be merging these two. I think. Do I? Is that what I want? Might not be what I want. No, I don't think that's what I want. I think what I want is to... Is this connected to anything? What the actual fuck? What? How many? Okay, hold on. There's a lot of words there on top of each other. We're going to merge by distance real quick. Yeah, I think this is going to work out better for me. Maybe. What the fuck? Yeah, so remember when I said I think there's a horrendous way to do it, probably? Turns out I was correct. Definitely should not be doing it this way. Also, what the fuck, why is there... Okay, I guess we'll be adding in a different cut point there to make that work. Okay, but now... Nope, that still doesn't do what I wanted to do. Yeah, definitely shouldn't have done it in this way, but that's a little too late now to start complaining about it, so we'll make do. And this is going to actually have the proper amount of... oh, no, that didn't do anything. Good. I mean, I don't know if always running your own version control is #1 necessary. Oh, there's an inside face here, I think. Is that an inside face or is that just... No, that's not an inside face, never mind. Like, especially with Unity's version control, the fact that it has a plugin for Unreal Engine makes it worthwhile to use that if you're working within Unreal. Now, when it comes to like the place where you actually store that data, doing that locally, I am a huge fan of. But not just locally still. You definitely also want an offsite backup somewhere, but having like your main repository be able to like be full local. Oh, my potion. Obviously you do want that. I don't even know what the fuck is going on anymore with this whole... Can you just keep mining? Thank you. Oh, I understand what's going wrong. That's easily fixed. We can just slide these down and merge them. Right, and then we can hook them up. Maybe. Yeah, that fixes that. Cool. That needs a lot more detail. Like a lot more resolutions needed here. Yeah, like actually a lot. What the fuck is this edge flow? You guys see this? My god. I'm actually not entirely sure why. It's because of this goddamn triangle. There's a triangle there. I don't want the triangle to be there. Hold on. We can fix this. This is a fixable thing. Right? We can dissolve this edge. That fixes that. That does not fix that. It just creates a triangle in a different position, doesn't it? Oh, even worse. It creates an end-gun. Oh, no. But oh no, hold on. That is actually like highly fixable. It might not be. It might not be. What if we do that? Nope. That still comes down to the same issue. Where did I fuck up? Like, where is the actual issue here at this point? It's got to be this, right? But if I follow this along, how do I fix this? Do I make an extra triangle here and just call it a day there? Is that what I do? Because that doesn't seem like... No, that definitely is not what I do. Spiral of Doom indeed. So I think what I do is I just say, hey, what a nice set of vertices. Would be a shame if somebody just came by and fucking yeeted all of them into oblivion. I think it's legitimately easier to just reconstruct the... Oh, that might actually... No, that still results in an issue, doesn't it? Yeah, that still results in an issue. Because... No, it might not. Hold on. If I... delete these faces, and then I pull these vertices up. Delete this face as well. Now we're back to... we're gonna get somewhere. I promise you. We're gonna get somewhere. I don't know where, but fucking somewhere. We remove this edge. Connect these two up. No. No, the issue I think is much higher up actually. Yeah, I don't think this is an issue that I'm actually going to fix. Can I Ctrl Z my way into just... I guess we can just add geometry with a knife tool instead. That's hardly ideal, but it'll have to do... Oh no, because of course that's going to end up with the same... You know what, this might actually... Now that we've done that... still not great. Quite the opposite. All that said though, if I just like make this into a couple of triangles down here, that already changes so much. Because I can now pull this food all the way down there. Hey, Mr. Angon. Can you go fuck yourself, please? Thank you very much. Oh, there's another Angon here. There seems to be a trend. Hopefully that was the last one. But for some reason, I kind of doubt it. I feel like we're going to be running into some more, but we'll see. Because add-ons cost money, and I only do this every so often, so that's why. And also, I am using an add-on, just not a particularly, like, all-encompassing one. But once I get into the stage where I'm doing more art for my game, I probably will get like Retopology. But for the moment it's like, I don't know, what is it, like 80 bucks? Oh, we're already in a full inventory. Okay, let's do a teleport real quick. It's like 80 bucks and I'm gonna be working with it for like 5 or 6 hours. And then I won't touch it again for another like 2 or 3 months probably. Maybe a little bit less. But fact remains is that like for the on average like 2-3 hours a month that I actually work with like Retopology, which ironically enough, if I actually use a good plugin, would probably be even less, which is kind of the point of them, of course. I just don't think that it's worth that much money to be spending on a plugin at the moment. It's definitely like part of the plan going forward at some point to get one. Let's just add some geometry this ugly ass way. You know, that'll fucking do. That's good enough for me. I probably also could have tried doing at least a cloak like in instant meshes, because this seems like it's not particularly something that needs finer geometry in specific places. Which that is where instant meshes really tends to fall apart a little bit, is when you need very large faces in some areas to just for like performance reasons, but you still have areas that have small geometry. Instant meshes just kind of loses it when you try to do that. But this definitely does not fall in that category, so I probably should have just used that instead. But that's a little too late to be worrying about right now. Can I comfortably? I can. This is the most difficult bit because it's got one of these like little split parts. These dangly bits are going to be so much easier in comparison. Like this first one we did very quickly and easily, then this one was trouble. Again, this one's going to be trouble, then all of these other ones are going to be easy, and there's only one bit left that might be a little problematic, but I don't even think that's going to be particularly difficult to deal with, to be honest with you. So I think after this we are through the worst of it. I was going to say for now, but I actually think we straight up will be through the worst of it after this one. Because after this, we'll only have the semi-easy things to do for the cloak. And everything that's not the cloak is easier than the cloak, I think. So prepare for happy times ahead. At some point in the vague future. And hey, look, we can actually fucking add loop cuts to this one. Probably not to this one, right? We can. Never mind, we can. Don't move the entire loop. I just wanted to move this vertex. I keep calling individual vertices vertices, and it's probably annoying some people somewhere, because that is technically not correct. Vertex is the singular use of it. Vertice, by definition, is a plural. Let's add a little bit more resolution to these loops. And that's pretty good, I would say. Now, when I need to start connecting up these bottom bits to the top bit here, that's going to be a nightmare, because look at the disparity in geometry here. And I'm not going to be adding like a billion loop cuts here to just support that. I'm going to be adding a billion triangles instead. I know that there's patterns that you can use to like keep edge flow and stuff like that working better with all quads. I just don't care. For this model, anyway. And we also need to, at some point, do the inside of this thing, which is not going to be that difficult, but it will be a thing that needs to be done. Maybe we should do that first, actually. Just not connect everything up yet. But the more... Yeah, let's do that first. Because the more geometry we add in these bits down here, the more we're going to struggle with doing this. Then again, no, we don't necessarily have to, because we can combine throw in some triangles, make it lower res geometry on the inside. We'll be fine. Let's keep going with what we're doing. Which is apparently adding in a loop cut here. And doing some more mining. We can just extend this all the way around, I think. Almost all the way. So how about we make this into a triangle, because that will stop in theory. No, it doesn't, because these two are, these two aren't merged. Now that should stop the... That technically does make it into a quad. I'll give you that. Which is going to, make that act really weird. I'm going to just ignore that for now. Wait, there was already a vertex there? What even is happening here? There's a really fucking good start to making one of these little tentacles, not knowing which face is going where. But I think we're making this work. I hope this is like a snug enough fit for the normals to actually work in substance. It should be, for the most part, but if it isn't, it's going to be a pain. Now, let's line these up. Let's see how this deals with extra geometry. Just fine, seemingly. And if it deals just fine with it, let's add actually just 2 loops as well. And then we can keep using the strategy that I have been using, which is just like drawing down like this. Making one face. And then we can start pulling extra faces out of it. Probably want another, like, probably 2 cuts here even. And then this we can do stuff with. Maybe, possibly. I don't even know. Upside down. Being upside down in Blender is always a bad position to be in, right? Like, nobody likes being upside down in Blender because it fucks you up so bad. Let's connect these up. That makes a loop. Actually, I think that this will now just generate... No, I don't think it will. We'll worry about that in a moment. First, let's make another face here. Slowly but surely we're making some sort of progress. This might be quite a long stream. Actually, we've only been going for an hour. I was going to say, if we've already been going for like an hour and a half, I might actually just like stay live for longer than normal. Because I do want to make some more significant progress here. Okay, so we gotta do a thing. Hold on. That connects up. And that should have fixed things up again. No, it didn't, maybe? Oh, hold on. There we go. I really don't like how right-clicking out of a... Well, there's probably an option for this, and there's probably actually a button for it. But in my mind, right-clicking after doing like the start of an operation should cancel the operation and not just put the vertice back where it originally came from, but still have like the extra face created. There's good reasons, I imagine, for having it work the way that it does. Doesn't mean that I like it though. So if we just make a triangle there. I think this will do. So we're going face, 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 and that wraps all the way around. Okay. As I said, these things a lot easier than these ones. Still a little tricky, without a doubt. But, I mean, we're really apologizing. Of course, it's going to be a little tricky. But from here, I think we can just start making loops. Or maybe not. But maybe now again? Hold on now, I need to make this all the way down. And then we can start making proper loops. And then how we connect these things up down here, we'll worry about in the future. But now this should be as easy as just saying, hey, F, face, inventory is full, isn't it? No, it's not even. Once this potion runs out in like 30 minutes though, I do have to go buy a new Juju potion. At least we can keep this thing going now for a little bit. I hope that my like tiredness isn't rubbing off too much on the stream, because I slept like shit last night. Like actually just very bad. I woke up at like 3 a.m. The worst goddamn stomach cramps you can imagine. Oh, they weren't like the worst you can imagine, but they were pretty bad. Like they were, I'm not gonna be able to sleep until this passes kind of bad. And that took like an hour. At which point it was 4 a.m. So you can imagine that the sleep that I had after that wasn't like particularly well resting. Valuable lesson learned: don't eat too much just before bed. Did I already know this? Yes. Will I make that same mistake again in the future? I probably will. Because sometimes it's just nice to have like a little snack, and a little snack turns into a big snack, and a big snack turns into I am fucking dying. Yeah, let's move this verts. I'm just gonna start calling them verts instead of vertices, because it's gonna annoy less people probably. That works, that works, that works. Can I easily... I can. Can I easily do it in this direction as well? Probably. That's less great. But maybe we can do some triangle shenanigans here, and that will probably... yeah, actually not do that much. I think just pulling down these verts themselves probably do a lot more. Just like pull these down a bit. Without stretching things out too much, if at all possible. Well, we do want to stretch them out, but like not in a jagged way. I think that works. Some extra resolution here. And that's another one done. Oh yeah, one meal a day. I've heard of that. I couldn't. I couldn't do that. Like, mad respect for anybody who is actually like able to like merge these. Mad respect for anybody who's actually able to do that, because I really like having like at least 2 meals in a day. I'm not a huge like lunch guy or a breakfast guy, depending on how you see it. I usually have like breakfasts, lunch around like 11 a.m. And then usually I have dinner at around like 5 p.m. And then between like, usually between like 7 and 9, I'll have like a snack, which generally it's not as much and not as late as yesterday. Like yesterday I had a very unfortunate combination between eating more than usual and eating later than usual at night. Which my body was like, hey, don't do that. Which is duly noted for the next couple of weeks, at which point I will have forgotten and I will probably do it again. For the time being, very much noted. Will this work? I don't think this will do. Oh, actually, that does exactly what it needs to do, I think. Maybe we'll add in another loop here in a moment. But I think if I just connect this up and then like to there, and then connect it to, I think this vert is what we want to connect that to. that connects to that one, to that one. I think this is what we want. Fill up the inventory. Yeah, that's full quads. And now that we have that, we can actually just trade up. This one is very smooth, very easy, very well done. Maybe I don't actually suck at this so bad. I still do. Never mind. I still do. But I can pretend like I don't. And some of you guys will believe me, so that's a good thing. You know, very often when I've spent too much time in Unreal, I'm very happy that I get to fuck around a little bit of Blender again. And then after I've spent a week just in Blender and only having Unreal open to like make thumbnails for videos, I yearn for going back to Unreal Engine to do some actual like in-engine work on this, because I'm kind of done with this shit at this point. That said though, I am also looking forward to importing this into Substance and doing something with it there. And this actually, hold the fuck on, because this will actually make a quad, meaning that just works out. Okay, that doesn't. But it's actually like not half bad, I don't think. Yeah, no, that's a quad. That's also a quad. We could probably do with a little more resolution in these segments. I also need a new mouse because my scroll wheel is so fucked. You know, we spent like 40 minutes doing this first one, I think. And then in the next about 40 minutes, we've done everything after that. So we're actually speeding up very, very well. Which means that, hold on, is this the last segment that we need to do before we need to start? Yep, okay, so this is the last segment, and then we need to start connecting these up. So what I think we'll probably end up doing is I will finish up the entire bottom part of this thing in today's stream. And once we finish up the entire bottom part, I will take a look at how I feel about doing the hood as well. It would be kind of nice to get the entire cloak done today. Right? If we can make that work, that would be amazing. So let's not waste any fucking time and get started on this shit. Oh, we still have one little dangly bit to do here. We'll make it work. So let's pull the verts back to here. And then again. I don't know if I want to say that I have invented this technique, because it's probably something that a lot of people either just have better ways to do, honestly, or have thought up way before I did. But I do like the idea of just like tracing down the line of what the edges is going to be like, and then from there tracing out a line of how the loop is going to work around. And if you're like really smart, you can probably even make sure that you have a proper amount of vertices here to end up with something resembling a number of quads at the bottom. But I'm nowhere near smart enough for that. I just kind of go with it as I see fit. And then we make another one of those loops all the way around, making sure that they have the exact same number of verts in roughly the same like rotational places. And the heights also would be very nice if those more or less matched up, and they don't. Slowly fall down. And then once we've done that, like that first 40 minutes of doing that first one also was kind of creating this method, right? Now that we have this method, it's going to be really easy to just say, hey, okay, we've got that. That's not what I wanted to do, never mind. We've got this working here. We've got overlapping vertices. Merge your fucking ass by... We don't have overlapping vertices. What? In that case... Oh! Yeah, we also need to trace this all the way down. We could probably actually do a grid fill, maybe, all around. I don't think that's going to work too well. I'm not even going to try. No. Yeah, probably doesn't understand well enough how to do all that stuff. So let's not even try. Let's not even go there. But you know, this also does mean that next week we can get a lot of fun in, if we wanted to. Because we do need to unwrap this guy first, but then we can start either working on rigging and animation or on materials. And I personally like to do materials first, because that way when I import things into the engine, I can immediately like apply material to him and see what he looks like in engine while we're animating him and stuff, and it just makes me feel a little bit more motivated. And I always like doing material stuff, even though Substance is another one of those programs which I don't nearly use often enough to remember how to properly use it. So every time I open it, I'm like, okay, let's relearn everything about this. And every time I open it for a new model, I remember like one thing more than last time. So very slowly I am learning it. And that's Substance Designer. Or Substance Painter, right? Rather. Substance Designer I use even less. I probably should use it a little bit more. I quite like making like material graphs and stuff. I really liked doing that when I did it in Blender. But then I figured out, hey, Blender actually really sucks for this purpose. As in, it's lacking quite a bit of pretty fundamental features. Okay. Quad, triangle. Yeah, the amount of time that you save, even if it's just like one model a month on average like me, the amount of time that you save and the improved quality that you get from doing your texture painting in Substance versus Blender is so fucking insane. Just the fact that it has like proper edge detection by itself is like worth it 10 times over. Yeah, lifetime version is on Steam for like, I think 150, 250 US dollars, something like that. I'm not entirely sure on the pricing. But there's a lifetime version on Steam, which is quite nice. Especially since yeah, that doesn't really line up that well, does it? How are we gonna do this? I suppose what we can do is we can just make that connect up. Hold on, let me get back to that thought in a moment. I would say that 200 USD for Substance is still a really good deal. I know that it is not exactly a good comparison to compare it to the other Adobe software, because it's not actually like Adobe software. Like Adobe owns it now, but they bought it. But comparing that to like literally anything else that Adobe owns, when they used to sell software rather than do the Creative Cloud, like Photoshop or Premiere or After Effects was like 1,000 per piece of software, per version. So Substance going for only 200 for a lifetime license, which doesn't include like new version updates, granted, is like actually an amazing deal in comparison. Now, does that say more about Substance, the price for Substance, or about the price for other Adobe software in the past? I will leave you to answer that question on your own. I think you know what my opinion on that will be. I did notice that for some reason, if you want to get Substance on Creative Cloud, you can. It's like $25 a month or something like that. But it's only on personal profiles. If you have a business profile, which I have one of both, if you want to get it on a business profile, it just doesn't offer it to you. Like at least for me, when I try to like actually buy the thing over Creative Cloud, which I would prefer, it doesn't let you get that software. It only lets you get like the entire 3D suite, which then again goes up to like 90 a month, which is a little much for me, especially since the entire Creative Cloud itself is like 65. I have 2 seats, so it's like 85, I think, for me a month. I'm not paying another 90 a month for something that I only use every once in a while. Like after, well, I have Designer and Painter, so that's like a total of 300 or 400 to buy it. Within a few months, it'll actually just be cheaper to buy those. And again, those don't come with perpetual updates. It's just that version that you buy. But still, like that's 3 months for the price of a license that's effectively like a year if you want to update every year, right? And you don't have to update every year. You can just update every few years. But even if you update every year, that's still like 4 times cheaper to get it on Steam than get it as a business account on Adobe's website. Which again is fucking stupid, because if you get it with a personal account, it's about the same price, which makes sense. It's actually a little cheaper to do the subscription, I think. Because you're paying like $25 a month, but you get both. Plus like that 3D rendering stuff, which I don't really give a shit about, to be honest with you. I think I already have a Juju Potion actually in the bank. There we go. Yeah, Adobe is fucking... Look, I use Premiere a lot. I really like After Effects. There's actually like... Premiere I use out of habit, more or less. Like and because I have all of my macros set up for using Premiere, and like my plugins mostly only work with Premiere. But as just like aside from that, as a piece of software on its own, I don't really care too much for it. I would happily only use DaVinci if I didn't have like actual reasons for using Premiere. After Effects, I have never seen a program that is so shit still. Don't get me wrong. I've never seen something that made me think, yeah, okay, this is like an actual legitimate potential After Effects replacement. Like, just nothing. I know, like, for compositing stuff, there's like Nuke. But that's the thing about After Effects, is that it doesn't just do compositing. It's also really good for like motion graphics and animation. And technically, I suppose if you want to do those things, you're better off using other software. After Effects is a weird thing because it is quite a specialized piece of software, but it's still also kind of a jack of all trades. Like, After Effects is about 60% of the reason that I still use Adobe. And Photoshop, I suppose, itself is also quite like an important part of that reason. There's GIMP, but I'm so used to Photoshop at this point that I don't really want to switch away from it. I forgot where we were at with this. Oh, we just finished this tentacle, apparently. Sure. Cool. I guess that's a thing that we did. Now, let's make sure that everything on the back here is very well connected up to. And we're going to need to add in a bit of extra geometry in places. But we'll get to that in a moment. It might not even be that bad, because maybe like the subdiv will add the geometry that we need. Let's see, if we connect this up to that, this can make a triangle, right? Yeah. Best tool for making height maps? I don't know. I kind of feel like the best way to make height maps is just to sculpt it and then render that out as a height map. But I'm not entirely sure. In the same way that I like sculpting in like the detail on my meshes as 3D data and then bake them into a normal map, right? It's not entirely the same, but it's similar. Okay, there's gonna have to be a little bit of joining faces together and like triangulation stuff happening in a moment here, so bear with me. Erosion is hard to sculpt. True. I know like Unreal has specific brushes for that, so I think the thing there at that point would be like check out if you can find any brushes that maybe make that a little bit more workable. I don't know. I'm not particularly like great at like landscaping stuff. Yeah, there's alpha brushes, but there's also like wait, what am I doing? I'm adding more geometry again. I don't want to be adding more geometry. I don't know how this holds up for Blender and stuff like that, but I know that for like the brushes in Unreal, and I know that you can program custom brushes for ZBrush. as well. I imagine that something like that is like more intelligent than just an alpha map. It's also doable for Blender in some way, shape, or form. I would have no idea how. But if it is doable, somebody else would have done it. Where it just is a little bit more intelligent at how it applies its brush based on like 3D space and the geometry of like your landscape and stuff. So that might be worth something. Let's see if we make full inventory. I'm gonna be fucking rich when we end this stream. I have not really done much landscape stuff in either Unreal or Blender, to be honest. I've only checked out the Unreal landscape tool. I'm just going to add in a knife cut like this here because I just don't give a shit, if I'm being honest with you. If I ever get around to finishing the game that I'm working on right now, like the next project that I have in mind is going to make some significant amount more use of the landscape thing, because it's going to be a more open world style game. Which is why a few weeks ago, like more than a month ago at this point probably actually, I did that stream where I was just testing out Unreal's open world systems, because I need to start getting a little bit more familiar with that going into the future. Just connect these faces up properly and that'll kind of do the trick, and then just add some loops. You know, that works. I'm going to real quick turn on a light here because the sun's going down real quick. And sitting in a dark room, looking at the screen is not particularly like the best thing for your eyes, and my eyes have been kind of... Oh, there's still one segment left to do. Fuck. Okay. That looks pretty good though. I do like that progress. Let's line these up and then do these last couple of droopy bits. You know what's kind of annoying? I feel like I'm finally getting a little bit like good at doing these bits, and there's going to be the final couple of ones, meaning that now that I actually like have a flow for them, it's not going to matter because I'll be done with them, which is kind of sad. Add in 2 loop cuts on each of them probably. Maybe just 1 on this. Let's do 2. Who cares? But I do need to learn a lot more about the like sculpting and landscaping tools in Unreal and stuff, because what I have in mind is gonna be like quite a large map. Like realistically, probably a little too large. It's not gonna have like too much in the way of like mountainous areas though, so that is a good thing. But I definitely need to get more comfortable with that in combination with procedural content generation, which is also a thing that I'm spending time getting a little bit more into. But that is definitely a in the future kind of thing, and not a right now kind of thing. Because first, on my list of things to get better at is, or learn to begin with, is the state tree system. That's definitely something that I want to learn more about, because the way the AI for my bosses works at the moment is fucking horrendous, if I'm being honest with you. It's actually just really, really bad. This one really connects to all the way over there? That can't be good. Hold on, maybe add in one more loop here. Then we can move this vert over there. This vert over there. And then we're going to add in, hello, inventory is full. And then we're going to add in some loops over there as well. Right, so if we can add 2 more loops, add a loop like that. Yeah, state trees is it's an alternative AI system in Unreal that seems to be like a middle ground between state machines and behavior trees. And for the boss fights in my game, I think that system makes a lot more sense than the way I'm doing things right now. Because right now, I'm kind of like forcing a... Oh, that's not correct. Right now what I'm doing is I'm kind of forcing a state machine inside of a behavior tree. And that's just... It's just not nice. It's just... It's not great. So I want to learn more about that and seeing if it's like actually as good as I think it might be for my use case before programming this guy's AI behavior, because this is the first like actual boss that's like not a tutorial boss in the game, and I kind of want to get like my process for making those bosses down right in the first one. The tutorial boss I can redo if need be. But there's like gonna be 7 or 8 more bosses, and like especially the final boss, the way I have it in mind right now, is going to be so goddamn complex in the way it works. If I do it in a behavior tree, it's going to be like actually insane. So if I can use a system that is a little bit more state machine like, that would probably be a good thing. Because video game bosses generally behave more like state machines anyway, right? You have phases, and within those phases you have states. That being like the starting phase of a boss fight, and then within that phase he probably has like a an aggressive and a passive state, like where he's attacking you and where he's allowing you to attack him. And then within all the other phases he probably has those same states, maybe gains a new state in some phases. And doing that all in behavior trees, like forcing a behavior tree to work that way, is just like, it doesn't feel great. And I hope that my code can be like a little bit more flexible if I use a state tree. Again, I don't know that it will. Maybe it ends up being a worse solution for me. I still need to like look into them. I wanted to do that today, but instead I opted to edit a video that needs to be edited, like the next devlog. So I'll probably get to that sometime this weekend. But I also like have other recordings going on this weekend, so it's a busy little bit. I think it's a default feature. It might be a Epic developed plugin. I mean, EQS is good for like environment queries, but that doesn't really like it doesn't really supply state machine behavior. It's just it can query the environment around it and make decisions based on that, which is still really good to have. But it doesn't really like supply the thing that I need in this case. I also use EQS for like quite a few of my enemies. For like navigation, deciding where they need to go, that kind of stuff. Like I have one enemy that runs away from the player. EQS really helps with that. I probably won't be doing the learning live, because the learning will probably involve watching a lot of other people's content, and I generally don't like when I just... At that point I'm restreaming other people's content, and I would prefer not to do that. But I will definitely be doing the actual implementations of it for my own characters. Like when I get around to programming this guy, it probably will be live. And if that is in the state tree system, that'll be cool. Now, let's pull this the fuck down. Maybe one word at a time. And of course, if I end up learning more about the state tree system, I'll probably at some point also make a like a series on it. Not gonna be anytime soon, because I need to get a good grasp on it, and we need to finish the inventory series. And after the inventory series, I already am working on a material series. And after that, I might do a particle series. I'll have to see. I wanted to do a particle series in the first place, but then I was like, if people don't know how to work with materials, I need to be able to like point them at content for materials, and I would prefer that to be like content on my own channel rather than putting them in the direction of other people. So, and of course, particles and materials are very like linked together. Like they are very relevant to each other. So I figured, you know what, let's just do materials first. Like half a year ago in my Unreal Basics series, I said, maybe at some point I'll do a material specific series, and then I never did. So it's also kind of like do. Okay, it's a good first one. But I do agree that AI, like making AI or like behavior, the meaning of AI these days is so fucked. Like anything is AI. I don't like this whole AI revolution from the perspective that like anything at this point is AI. So what do we call AI? That actually lines up relatively well. Huh, interesting. It's kind of easy. Only 2 to go. Yeah, once these are done, we're definitely not doing the hood. Because once these are done, we'll be well over 2 hours into the stream. Then we need to connect things up still. And like theoretically, we actually also still need to do the inside of this, which... Like if we do all that, we'll probably be at 3 hours of stream. So I don't even know if we'll do all that today, to be honest. We'll see. Yeah, people don't like AI, but that's kind of a thing, right? Now that everything is being marketed as AI, people also aggressively, like Cascadeur is a good example of something that has been using machine learning to improve animation for so long. Like, I don't like working with it because almost none of my characters are human proportion, meaning that I can't actually use their most impressive features that come from machine learning or AI. But they were doing this like long before this whole AI like revolution that's going on right now. And that is a face that is facing the wrong way. But now people are also like, I fucking hate AI, this software sucks. Like, no, like, the thing that you hate, like, emotionally, like very emotionally hate. Like, a lot of the hate for it is not rational. Let's put that first. It comes from a place that makes sense in a very basic sense, right? Because people are worried about the whole like, but my job, which is fair, but then that is used as a reason to just like blindly hate anything that is labeled as AI without thinking about it, which is just like, you just make yourself look fucking stupid, okay? And that's kind of the thing. Cascadeur now with GDC made some new announcements, which of course people were like, "Oh, fucking AI, you guys suck." Just shut up. Just shut up. Like, this technique has nothing to do with the thing that you actually hate, which is like generative AI, that is being trained on potentially like illegally obtained source data. And whether or not that should be illegal is something that I personally don't really have a solid opinion on yet, because like it's complicated. But then there's also things like Photoshop generative fill, which is trained, as far as they say anyway, entirely on things that they have licenses for. So at that point, the artists, the photographers, whatever, everybody whose data is being used is being compensated, and people still fucking hate on it. Which is, again, if you just blindly hate on anything that has the letters A and I in close proximity to each other, you just make yourself look stupid. Yeah, the new updates for like the licensing for Cascadeur is actually really nice. Again, with my next project, which is gonna like start development in like 3 years, probably not sooner than that. So at that point, who knows what it looks like, right? But with that project that I have in mind, there's gonna be some more like human animation as well. Still gonna be a lot of like non-human animation that needs to be done. But that might actually be good for. But then again, like Unreal, the new Unreal update also comes with like a huge library of just like normal human locomotion animation. So I might be able to just use that and not have to custom animate too much as far as that goes. But there will always, like in most games, be some custom animations that are needed. And using Cascadeur for that, because I'm not a great animator. I don't know if you've seen my gameplay footage, but like I get by at best. I'm not a good animator. Can we can split that? Good. And that's 1, 2, 3. We can make this work. Right. That's good enough. Oh, we do need to connect it up to the top bit here, though, still. Wait, do we have it connected up? No, we don't. We still need to make that work. But that should be relatively easy, because we should be able to just say, hey, connect these up. Connect these up, and then maybe just spam the ever-loving hell out of this. No, I don't think we can do that. But still, we managed to skip a step or two, which is nice. that lines up with that one, that one, that one, and then I think we can just go all the way around now. No. Also, inventory is full. You know, the whole that's the other side of that argument, where like jobs aren't disappearing. It's just going to be like creating new jobs that are going to be, hey, use this AI. While that is true, there's also a real element of like where there used to be 10 people working on a particular project. There can now be like 3 people using AI, which still means that 7 people are out of a job, right? I do think that there is like a legitimate thing there. Like it's not like the people that hate AI because it is going to take jobs have no point at all. Like there is definitely like something there where, yeah, for like people in the creative lead roles, they're not going to be affected. People at the like people who are actually like on the floor doing the actual work, those are going to be the jobs that are lost. And that's the thing that people are worried about, not about like creative, like directors aren't going to suddenly be out of a job. It's going to be the it's going to be like the editors, right? I come back to film because that is what I know best. But within the game industry as well, if AI makes your programmers like 20% more efficient, that means you also need 20% less programmers. And programmers specifically will probably be fine because there's always a like definite. Oh, that's not what I want to do. There's always like a lack of programmers. There's always we need more people to program because like everything in the entire development cycle depends on programmers, whether that be actual like gameplay programmers or people who make supporting tools for like literally the entire rest of the team. So I don't think programmers at the moment have much to fear, but there's still the fact that just because jobs and functions don't entirely disappear doesn't still mean that... What the fuck is going on here? That doesn't necessarily immediately mean that it's not going to cost jobs. Yeah, it's like an insane amount of animations that Unreal releases entirely for free, which is really, really cool. I really like that. Because again, I kind of suck at animation most of the time. The normals of this are like the actual worst. Also, this is like a double face. Let's Control Z through this a little bit. Yeah. Yep. And then this is a triangle, but we'll deal with it. It's not a triangle. Yes, it is. It's just bad at coming up with what faces I needed to cover. Okay. How many hours have we put into this specific model so far, right? We did 2 hours for the top half here. We did 2 hours for the bottom half. I think it was 2 hours for the sculpting. I think it was about 2 hours for the rough initial modeling. So that's like 8 hours so far. We don't even like have a model yet, let alone animations, let alone code. This is probably going to, for quite a while, be the very longest process that I've had to go through for the entire game, I think. But even the night boss, which I already have, also took a long time. Like, I think all in all that took about 10 to 12 hours to create him. Is going to pale in comparison to what this guy is. Wait, my rune book's already full again? Okay, teleport time. Again, we're going to be so fucking rich by the end of this. Like, a good 2.5 hours of mining is going to be like 4 million GP or something. Which is good because my cash stack is slowing down a little on RuneScape. I got logged in today for the first time in a while and was like, oh, I only got like 11 mil, which is not great. It's also not bad, but definitely could be a hell of a lot better. Oh yeah, no, definitely. I am 100% actually playing the game on the side. What do you think? I just added in footage on the bottom left? No, I'm like actually got the game running. It's just a couple of clicks every couple of minutes, and then like twice an hour I have to like do a quick bank run. It's such a good way to like make some money, and I'm getting really close to 99 mining. So I really want that skill. No kidding, I've played RuneScape on and off for, at this point, probably 15 years. I've never had a skill cape. I've never actually gotten a character with a skill up to 99. And I feel like this might be the stretch that I need to get there. And I think it's a fun little look to have a little bit of gameplay in the corner there as well. And now we should be able to... Wait, what? Oh, there we go. Okay. Well, when I say 15 years, it's like once a year or so, I play it for a month or two, and then I decide I'm too busy doing other things, and then I cancel my membership, and then a year later, I play for a month or two. And around the time that RuneScape 3 was released, I guess I just missed like a window of opportunity to migrate my account from RuneScape 2 to 3, so I had to restart an account. Something like that, I think, happened. So I had a account which was like not on the level which I have right now, honestly. So like I've more than caught up to that loss, but I had like a total level of, I don't know, like 1500 something, and a combat of around 90. And on this account, let's actually check. My total level is, I think, like, yeah, 1771 now. And my combat is almost at 100. Yeah, it's RuneScape on low graphics because I complained about this today in the Discord. RuneScape fucking eats up your GPU for no good reason because it looks like shit. Like, my Unreal Engine game takes up less GPU power than RuneScape. which is wild because I believe RuneScape runs on HTML5. At least it did. A long time ago. But I can't believe that it still runs on HTML5 if it hogs 100% of my GPU to run on decent graphics. So this is just minimal graphics, so that it doesn't have a big impact. Which also means that it like barely spawns any particle systems, which is actually not ideal. But yeah, that's why it looks like shit. Probably want a little bit more geometry here. And also a little bit more geometry there. You know what? I'm going to add one more loop cut on each side. I think that gives me the resolution that I need. Yeah, that's pretty good. So let's do this little thing. This is actually the last one, isn't it? Holy shit. So let's do this little inappropriate looking thing first. And then we'll connect things up to this bit afterwards. I think that makes the most sense. That said though, I do want to connect these up already, because I think I want to add in a extra vert for these. And that is important because I'm actually going to be using that vert in this loop here. I do like how in modern RuneScape, though, while we're on the topic, in like modern RuneScape, you can grind agility passively by just like throwing money at it, like in-game money. I wouldn't throw actual money at it, aside from the fact that membership. But you can just equip a specific set of boots and just throw items on it, which cost like quite a lot of money, and then you just passively get experience for agility while you're doing other shit. So I have not once, I don't think you can see it actually, but I have not once actually like done an agility course or any stuff like that, I don't think, on this account, and I've got 90 agility. Hold on, can I just now do this? I don't think I can. But I should be able to, right? I was just going the other way. Okay, that's fair enough. I can deal with that. You know what the funny thing is? Even after we do all of this for retopologizing, there's still going to be decently high poly. Of course, it's not going to be the insane, like, 13 million polygons that the high-res mesh is, but it's still going to be like 100,000. Which is, like, multiple times the amount of vertices that exist in the entirety of Mario 64 and Ocarina of Time combined, I think. I really should look this up sometime, because it's a comparison that I make a lot. Is comparing it to those games in, like, poly count. I should look up how many polygons exist in those games, because I think I say that as hyperbole a lot. Like, this model has more verts in it than Ocarina of Time or Mario 64, but I think it actually probably is the case. Are more people talking about RuneScape again? Because I just like I did get it on my homepage feed on YouTube. That said, most of the content I see on RuneScape is on old school RuneScape, and I'm like, at this point, I'm so invested in this account that's on RuneScape 3. I'm like, am I really going to also at the same time worry about playing RuneScape like old school, because I don't think I am. If I'm being honest, that doesn't seem like something that I'm very interested in splitting my attention on necessarily. Especially since, like, in a month or two, I'm going to abandon this game again. RuneScape, not the game that I'm making, hopefully. I see it like a stray food just hanging out, doing stuff. What's going on with that? The fuck you doing? Hold on. I think I can just dissolve this, to be honest. Yeah. And those are birds. Very loud birds. That's technically a quad. And hold on, there's also a quad, isn't it? It fucking is! Which means that we have finished up this, which, let's just add a little extra resolution to it. That'll do. Old School looks like a bad version of... I've never heard of Asheron's Call. It's probably not a bad version of it though, because Old School RuneScape is like actually pretty good. Which makes it even more infuriating for me that I'm stuck playing this like sunk cost fallacy. But I really like the more old school RuneScape. Like the more like RuneScape 3 is a little too much just World of Warcraft at this point. Like with this whole skill bar down here and stuff, I don't like that too much. I do like the fact that it is a lot more like quality of life stuff. Like this ore box where you can just like store 100 something ore, so that you don't have to make bank trips every couple of minutes. So that I actually can do stuff like just hang out on stream, have that running in the background, and ooh, how are we going to deal with this actually? I might need to throw in a triangle somewhere, like here. And I think this is now also... Even with halfway decent loops. Okay, that one is not that good. But I think that means that we have pretty much the entire underside, let's shade it smooth, covered. Now we need to connect these things up again, as I've been bitching about for a while. We'll how are we going to do that? I guess for this, let's add some more loop cuts, because we're definitely going to need that resolution to make this work. I guess we can... Hold on, can we just pull out? Yes, we can. Holy fuck, what was that? If we, oh, hold on, if we move this vert a little bit more over that direction, then this can bridge over. Then these can bridge over. And I think that means we can keep doing what we were doing. We can. Okay. This is the upside of having good geometry. It makes it easier to keep having good geometry. And I'm not even saying that my geometry here is particularly like very neat, but it is good enough for all this to work. So we can quite easily connect all these things up in a moment. I think we can just pull all these up as well. Is that all? Wow. I think RuneScape itself also was one of the first MMOs to exist. Like, actually in the 90s. At least MMOs as we know them right now, today. There might be some weird-ass, like, online games in the, like, earlier 90s. The RuneScape was pretty early in there, man. Yeah, we'll just keep doing it this way. Can we do it? No, we cannot. Well, and this is the exact reason why I was like, hey, maybe, just maybe, we don't want to add too much extra geometry. You know what? Actually, I'm thinking maybe, because we're also going to subdivide this, and this backside here doesn't really need that much more geometry. It's the front side that specifically needs it. So maybe this is the time where I start like merging some faces together and doing some like fancy shit. Because this just gets tedious. Like, that's a very big face. Like, to the point where I'm like, hey, can I just like subdiv this like a little bit to add a bit more geometry? And yes, I can. I'm also going to try to go into sculpt mode in a moment and see if I can smooth some faces out here a little bit, because I think that is going to be a thing that we need to do. Okay, so now we need to worry about how we're going to be connecting these. Because I think it's these two edges that we need to connect. Which means that this one doesn't need to go that far out, I don't think. Somewhere there's gonna have to be like a triangle, right? Because this now goes all the way around. We do have the thing connected all the way around now, so let's actually do a full circle of this. Because that gives us a very good start for the inside of the cloak. There's still a little portion on the other side of the cloak, which doesn't like have a little like lip going inside yet. So once we have all that, we can start worrying about adding in some flow to make these faces like less faces. RuneScape is 2001? Huh. Like, are we talking like old school RuneScape, like original RuneScape, or are we talking RuneScape 2? (2001). You're correct. Huh. Original. Yeah, that's 2001. RuneScape 2 was 2007. I am so bad with timing. It is really, especially anything between like 2003 and like 2010. Like that entire period of time is just 1 year in my memory. Part of that is because I was like in 2003, I was like 6 years old. And in 2010, I was like 14 years old, which actually, no, that is a pretty big difference in age. That's not the same age group at all. Not even close. Hold on. Are those not connected there? Oh, there's still a bit that's not connected there. I thought everything had been connected up until now. Let's... Okay. Fuck. But that might actually be a good thing. That might actually in some way be a good thing. Hold on. I just need to connect some things up here. I think this is going to be the face that I use to connect up. I just need to... make sure that this like little arch here, let's just do it like this. And this one we can move around a little. This should now just be F, 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 and we're good to go. Okay, so now that's technically connected up, which is actually a really good start. Because we can connect that up, and now we just... Oh my fucking god. There's a lot to do here still. Am I going to do all that today? It's been 2.5 hours, and this is going to take like a hot minute to connect up. Because we also need to connect up this bottom part to the top part itself. We still have the hood to do next time as well. I think I'm going to save the actual connecting up of these parts for the next stream as well. I think that makes sense. Also, my mining potion runs out in 6 minutes, so that's actually a pretty good like ending point. So next time we finish the retopologizing, but just as like a callback to what I talked about before, like the cloak itself here is about 326,000 triangles. The retopologized version is still at this moment 28,000. And if I like don't retopol it, it is 7,000, which is significantly less. And we might actually be able to get away with that, to be honest with you. We might actually be able to get away with that, which would make it like significantly more workable. We'll see. If we keep going like this is 28,000. We've got the arms to do as well, which is going to be significantly less. Specifically, this one also just does need a little denser geometry for like the cloth sim, but also not too dense because cloth sim. I want to keep the character as a whole not too far north of 100k. Preferably between 50 and 100, closer to 50 if possible. But we'll have to figure that out next time. It's been a good one. Thanks everybody for stopping by. and we'll be back on Tuesday again. I'm trying out this like Tuesday Thursday stream thing, and for now I think it's actually like going pretty well. Tuesday Thursday. So see ya.